taking risks and failure. Why are so many children scared of failure academically? Why do we seem to be so scared to take risks as a society? Scared of change? Taking risks, with care obviously, and failure are both crucial, foundational steps of life, and it's a crucial skill for long-term learning. I love failure, and if you've seen our science playlist on YouTube on our channel, you will see that we regularly do science experiments, and those experiments for children don't always go to plan, but that just allows for other routes of exploration. Why didn't it go to plan? What could we change? What can we adapt? And what different route can we take? And can we take a different route for a better outcome? Failure opens up new opportunities for discussion and allows us to put new theories to test. Failure is an important life experience, but it's our approach to failure that needs to be reevaluated. Failure helps forge innovative thinking and adaptability. That resilience so many people seem to go on about as soon as you say you home educate. And failure allows the ability to think critically in a constructive manner. It becomes learned experience. No child, in fact, no person should be afraid of learning and failure. It's this fear that causes us to disengage from our learning journey. Ask yourselves, how do you see failure? What message do we send out about failure to our children, whether we're parents or educators? And by that I mean our response to failure. What message does that deliver? This anxiety around learning is so common. And we genuinely have to ask why, and we need to start addressing that. As adults, this fear doesn't just miraculously go away. It tends to continue. We hold ourselves back, we self-criticize, we can even self-sabotage, and most of us will have probably heard by now of imposter syndrome. And that can be a tough journey in itself. So how do we empower ourselves so we can embrace these learning opportunities that failure bring more? Learning is a lifelong journey after all. With children, that's far simpler. We inspire fearless learning from the beginning, so that failure is seen as a natural part of life, a part of our learning journey. And fostering that growth mindset from childhood is key. Ensuring our children feel engaged with their learning, safe to explore and fail without judgment. An environment not only conducive to their learning styles, but conducive to a growth mindset. By 2030, it is stated that most jobs will be based around on-the-job learning. And this will no doubt mean making mistakes along the way. We all make mistakes. If you have an inherent fear of failure, one that has been long-term, you're going to find this scenario quite intimidating. By building this approach to fear, this fearless approach to learning and failure as a foundational skill in our children, we can ensure that when they come to that stage, they meet that challenge with confidence. Confident in their own ability to learn, and confident to know that they can handle mistakes and learn from those mistakes. If we reshape our approach to mistakes in education, we can foster that growth mindset, that confidence from an early age. This fear to failure becomes an automatic response. And that is what we need to change, that automatic response. And it is far easier to teach them skills, to model them skills to the younger generation, so they grow up with them being inherent, instead of this fear being inherent. We need to turn fear into a fun journey of exploration for our children. Get them engaged with why it didn't go to plan. Discuss potential new avenues and steps forward, whilst continuously encouraging a growth mindset in the learning environment as well as in the home. We want this fearless approach to learning and failure to be their automatic response, because that is genuine resilience And resilience is a word I see thrown about an awful lot as soon as somebody mentions the word home education. And this is how we build resilience in our children, by encouraging them to adapt to any situation and scenario that life can throw at them, and to see it as a positive challenge, and that when they make mistakes, they see it as a potential for growth and learning. That is resilience in action. But again, this comes back to how we view learning and education, how we view it as taking place, and how we view what it's for long term, the long term objective of education. Now, do you feel our current grade model, our grading system, fosters confidence in failure or fosters anxiety in failure? What are your thoughts on that one? I would be interested to know in the comments below. If you're a teacher, how do you merge the two together in your classroom? And growth mindset and a fearless approach to education can be quite a challenge when media and social media weaponize fear of failure and enhances fear. It can actually be quite difficult to tackle. I can't even begin to count how many times I've paused before hitting that post button when I'm uploading a video on TikTok or YouTube or even Facebook. It can be quite intimidating because we expect that criticism, and we are inherently raised and trained to be scared of that criticism and to want that acceptance. It's that fear of judgment and criticism that makes us pause, that makes us hold ourselves back. And that fear has sadly become ingrained in society across the board. So how do we change that mindset, this autonomic reaction? And why are we so ashamed of failing, being wrong and making mistakes? And yet we all know this. You know this, I know this, everyone knows this, and yet we still allow it to hold us back. We still allow it to affect our potential and our mental health. Our internal monologues thrown on like a negative imp on your shoulder. And we end up stagnating out of fear. The very structure of society perpetuates it. So how do we tackle this situation? How do we change it? Well, that change first starts with us, the parents, and with you, the individual. You don't even have to be a parent. It starts with you. And you do that change within by fostering a growth mindset within. We make notes of our reactions to situations and mistakes we make. And then we can then compare later and reevaluate, reassess, and begin to break down them cycles. However, that only creates the change within us. Long-term change has to come from the younger generations. They're the ones who are going to be marching forward in the future. They are the future of society, and real change begins with our children. So yes, it's crucial to heal ourselves because we can't model that healthy behaviour to our children until we have done so. However, it also has to start with imparting those models of behaviour on our younger children. And that begins with the education system and also within the home. And we have to reframe the perception of failure and mistakes during those early years of education. And again, doing so as an adult is hard work. And if we can avoid our children having to go through that, then naturally as parents, that's what we want to do. If we reframe it within the education system, where it becomes automatic that their response to failure is seen as a learning opportunity, instead of them failing and being behind everyone else, then we can foster this growth mindset from the beginning. And if we can manage to do that, then that then becomes their autonomic response, their autopilot. Because after all, mistakes create progress. Let me know in the comments what mistakes have made the most progress and growth for you. And obviously I'm not talking about the big life or death matters here. I'm talking about education-wise. I'm talking about academically. I'm talking about our day-to-day interactions with the world. Because it's all those little mistakes that add up to help make us the people we are. They become our learned behaviour, and the responses to them from a young age become our patterns of learned behaviour and the cycles that we then have to break in adulthood. And if we can raise our children and educate our children so that those negative cycles of behaviour don't become their autonomic response, then we can remove that fear of failure as a standard reaction in society. And hopefully that will also remove the inherent judgment that we see out there too. Anyway, this was just a random ramble because I'm sat here, I'm doing my uni work, the kids are with the dads, and I'm all alone for the weekend. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below.